We're going to do that. Perfect. Okay. So I probably shared, probably in November, about how a lot of times we treat our businesses like hobbies, which is not uncommon for anybody. Doesn't matter if you're doing this as a business or as a hobby, but realistically, at the end of the day, these are businesses, which also means that you should be doing a business plan. And I personally have to do a business and marketing plan for my 9 to 5 every quarter. And a lot of times what that looks like is key components. And so we're kind of going to talk all about it. I have a wealth of things that I'm going to share with you guys, and I will upload it too. So there's a couple of reasons why it's important to create a business plan. One, it's going to hold yourself accountable. Mm-hmm. Two, it's going to get you to build habits that you probably either aren't doing or you're not recognizing that you're doing. You're going to be more intentional in your business. It's going to help with consistency. And last but not least, you're going to build systems. And a lot of times I feel like the word systems scares us and we're like, well, I don't have systems. But when you do a business plan at the end of quarter one, which would be the end of March, you're going to be like, oh, I really do have systems, because you do. You just don't realize you have them. So the first thing I want to share with you guys, and you guys can totally laugh at me. So I'm in a Peloton group, and they shared this awesome calendar. And it is just one sheet of paper that I will share with you. And it's every month on it. And like, for instance, January, the J has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So because there's 31 days in January, all days of the month are numbered out, and you almost use it as like a coloring tool. And you can use it for any habit you want to. So like personally, I printed 2. One for my Peloton and the other for the days that I work my business. So we constantly find ourselves saying that we don't have time for our business. But at the end of the year, you're going to be able to look at this and you're going to be like, holy crap, I killed it in January. Oh man, I didn't do anything in June. Like, you're going to be able to identify where either you were consistent, where you dropped the ball, where you could improve. And by all means, I am not encouraging anybody to work their business 7 days of the week. But what I am encouraging is consistency. And what I am encouraging is, if you're working your business consistently, you probably are working your business 7 days out of the week. Because when you work your business, whether it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, it's going to look different for everybody, right? So like, you can be sitting on your couch and you could be Netflixing and scheduling your posts. That is working your business. You could be doing follow-ups that maybe take 10, 15 minutes while we're traveling to Missouri. That is working your business, right? So it's all going to be different. Hey, Stacy. We were just
sorry, I'm late. In a lot of pain.
No worries at all. So we were just talking about this sheet that I am going to share with everybody. And you're going to use it kind of as like a tracker for your habits and your consistency. And you can print as many of these as you want. I was just telling them that like, I'm using it for my Peloton. I'm printing it for my sister, who's going to use it for like tracking her workouts and her water. So it really can be used universally. Like, there's nothing on it other than the months and the days of the week. You can color it. You can choose not to. It's totally up to you. So that is huge. Another big thing that I know Diane loves, and I share it every single year, is this, which is your bulk sample planner. And it's huge, because I don't know, and I'm guilty of it. I don't know how many of you are also guilty when you're bagging an order specifically and you're like, I don't have any samples. And you just move forward, right? You're like, I need this done. I don't have times to cut wax or do washer whiffs or soak or whatever it may be. So that order is going out with literally probably cute ribbon, maybe a thank you, and that's it. We are not those consultants. We need to make sure that every order that goes out, we are separating ourselves from the other 50 consultants that are living within 10, 15 miles of where we live. And that's just, it doesn't matter if it's going to your mother-in-law, if it's going to your sister. My mother-in-law, every single time she orders, goes, this is putting on my desk. She goes, I don't need this. I don't know why you put this in my stuff. And I'm like, because you bought from me. And she goes, but you can use it for your customer. And I'm like, you are my customer every single time. And my sister every single time does it too. And I'm like, you're going to get it. It doesn't matter who you are. But when you find yourself bulk sampling, you don't run into those issues. And what I find myself doing too is, if I am, going to an event and I have a crap ton of samples already made, I just take those samples with me and pass them out. And people are like, oh my God, thank you so much for this. Or for instance, we are going into January, which means we only have January and February left in the fall winter catalog. At this point in your business, you should be looking at what you have, catalogs, product lists, samples, and the list goes on, and how you can get it out. If it's sending catalogs, putting catalogs in orders, I mean, the list goes on. Like if that is still sitting in your office on March 1st, you wasted money. Like, it's just that simple. You wasted money that you put into your business. Supplies are not free. We have to pay for that. So it is so important that you get it out, whether it's at events, parties, it doesn't matter. So definitely make that like a to-do, probably within the next, I would say, week, of what you have in stock, so you can be intentional over the next 2 months to physically get it out. The next thing, I did not create this, but I absolutely love this. It's just a sheet where it's the monthly subscriptions and it's just, for me, it's visual, because when I think, and we will be talking about goals here in a minute, when I think about my goals for the month, I think about how much money I need to make to first and foremost cover the things that are going into my business. And that's my PWS, Warmer of the Month, YouMeWho, Zoom, Canva, Project Broadcast. My Peloton subscription comes out of my Scentsy, so I automatically account for that. My team mail, which I've been so bad on, so I apologize. I have everybody's gift cards sitting right here. They just haven't made it to the mailbox, but I account for that. And then I account for other things too. So when I'm thinking about my goals for January, which will be payable in February, I think to myself, what am I doing in February that I need to financially contribute to? First and foremost, it's going to be my Scentsy supplies. And then are we doing something extra? So on and so on. So I will share this document too. It is just a Canva, so you guys can use it however you want. This was kind of cool. I am also not the creator of this, but it's awesome. So it is just a yearly comparison where it is literally, it goes January 2022, January 2023. And what it does is it allows you to fill in your PRV, your TWV, and your GWV, and you're going to be able to compare it on one sheet year over year. And you don't necessarily need this to do that. Does anybody use a Happy Planner? Does anybody have a Happy Planner? Do they have the Scentsy planner?
I have a Scentsy planner, but not like a Happy Planner. I have a planner that I bought from like the dollar store, and that's how I keep track of parties and sales and all of that stuff.
So I think even on the Scentsy planner, which I don't have a Scentsy planner, I have a Happy Planner, but this is literally the same thing. Literally, it just has January and it has every single day, and it allows you to track your numbers every single day, which again is you building habits. And you might be wondering, why do I want to track my numbers? Because especially if you, yes, Kim's showing you. So if Stacy, if you have that planner, it is already in there.
Where do I get the planner?
The planner that Kim has is in the workstation in the consultant store. A Happy Planner you can get at Michael's, Hobby Lobby.
What's the difference between the Happy Planner and the one that Kim has? What's the difference?
Hers is Scentsy. Mine is not. There's really no difference, truly. But the reason, and like all of us on here have a team, right? So, I mean, if you have one person and it's you, you're a leader. It doesn't matter if you have 1 or 30, you have people on your team. But when you're tracking your numbers, you're going to be able to identify when your team is going to hit numbers. Like for instance, every single month, you're going to see a spark on the 15th because that is when our subscriptions run. So anybody that's in your team that's getting a Scent of the Month, Warmer of the Month, your numbers are going to increase. If it is, for instance, the 2nd lands on a Monday, if we have a launch, you're going to see that increase. So it just allows you to plan better year over year. So you don't necessarily need that year over year comparison. You already have it in your binder. I do it probably 5 different ways, which really is the exact same. Next, but not least, who printed calendars? You might be wondering, why do you have a planner and print calendars? Well, I'm going to tell you. 1, I'm a freak. That's number 1. Number two, in my binder, it literally is more of the things that I have to do. So like on January 7th, I have Kimmy Baton Scentsy event. On the 11th, I have Work It Wednesday, where this calendar is specifically for Scentsy and the things that I am doing intentionally in my business. So again, at the top, I have my PRV. So I have what I did in 2022 and what my January goal is, because I want to see that increase. So anybody that has been here a year for January, you want to look at what you did in 2022, write it down and figure out how you can increase. That increase can be $1. It can be 200. It doesn't matter. You always want to increase, no matter, and Kim knows this because she does budget season at her work. When you're sitting down and you're looking at your budget specifically, like I'm in a hotel room, we're looking at where we can increase. And so you may realistically say, okay, I can probably only increase in January by 100, where in March, I could take a stronger increase because it's a new catalog. So you have to be mindful about those things in your business too. You can't just be like, okay, well, I did 200 in January 2022. I'm going to go for 3,500. That's not really realistic. And you're setting yourself up for failure unless you have actionable items to back that goal. So things that are on my calendar, and I'm sharing these things with you, to really get your mind rolling, not necessarily that you have to do, it's just something that I do in my business. So on January 1st, I likely will do a 2022 shout outs where I will look at everything for 2022. Who had top sales? Who was top 10? Who was the top 22 of 22? What was our group's wholesale volume between me, Tanya, and Lisa collectively, and share that. On the second, now I am doing a leadership one-on-one with Donna and Bree. On the third, because I've been terrible at this, I am doing December shout outs. I literally needed to put this on the calendar because it's holding myself accountable. I can think these things and I can write them down on paper all I want, but honestly, paper gets lost. I have 15 different notebooks in my office that probably all have the same information on them. January 5th, I am doing a live sniff session in my VIP group with the Bring Back My Bars. So the one thing I will tell you too, when you're looking at your business for 2023, think more about you being personal versus you being somebody else, or you being taking stock photos. And what I mean is when you look at what you are posting for that day, and we're all guilty of it, even me. If you're in a rush, you're more apt to go, ooh, Jen's page, copy and paste. Ooh, Kim's page, copy and paste. Ooh, Diane's, copy and paste. But guess what? That doesn't help with your algorithms. And at the end of the day, that's not you. And so what I do, or what I have been trying to do, I should say, is when I look at my day, I try to post every 2 hours or every 3 hours. And what I'm doing is I'm breaking up personal, interaction, Scentsy. So when you're thinking about what you should be posting, first and foremost, pull out your catalog, because we only have 2 months left to highlight what is available. And the one thing that really got me, I feel like, setting myself apart during the last week, when Christmas approaching, was Bree had a really good point. How many of us have stock on hand? All of us, correct? So write a list, which again, that notebook is somewhere. Yes, see somewhere. So this is all of my, it's not clear, I know, but all of these are my big warmers. And as you can see, I scratched some of them out because I started sharing them in my VIP group. I started being more specific where I'm like, hey, well, obviously this is during Christmas. Hey, if you need a last minute gift, no problem. I got you covered. Obviously, I'm not going to say that, but it made me realize how many products I don't share. So I really do encourage you to get a catalog that says my copy and literally go through it instead of depending on each other, because it's never going to get you sales. It's never going to help with your algorithms. You're not going to get likes. You're not going to get comments. And the reality is people are in your VIP group because they want to support you. They want to see about you. So try and think if you can post things that are not on your personal page, but in your VIP group. Make it a special group. How many people got the Bring Back My Bars? Okay. So, and I wrote this somewhere in my notes for today. There's 25 Bring Back My Bars. There's 31 days in January. So guess what? You have 25 days of at least one post fulfilled, 100%. You should be offering samples right now of Bring Back My Bars. If you have 6 that are your favorite, create a 6-pack. That's like Kim's 6-pick. These are the bars that I want. Stacy, can you mute yourself, please? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, it's my lap.
No, you're good. It distracts me and then I will be off on the rails. So if you do the 6-pack, there's 26 days, right? So it's thinking about what's happening that month as well. Other things that are on here. The vision board thing that we're doing on the 7th is on here. Work It Wednesday is on here. I put on the 14th of January, bulk sampling. So I am holding myself accountable that on the 14th of January, I'm going to sit down, look at what I have in stock, and I'm not going to be doing fall, winter scents. I'm going to be thinking about what I have in stock that I can use for spring, summer, in that transition period. So when we go into February, I'm thinking Clean Breeze, Clothesline, Aloe Water, and Cucumber. I don't care that they're old scents. I want samples pre-made to make my bagging process 100% easier. And then when the new scents come in, guess what? We add those samples to what I already have going. Okay, so a big thing we're going to talk about right now, which always comes with business planning, is budgeting. Does anybody budget for their business? Okay, that's good. So with your budget always comes monthly expenses. So big thing you should be considering in those monthly expenses are your subscriptions, your apps, supplies. Anybody create the supply list, the checklist that I suggested? Perfect. So if you haven't, I strongly recommend it because guess what? Right before we get paid, I go through what I have and what I need. So I go right into my Amazon and your orders, and I just add to cart, and it's easy peasy. Because the reality is it's no different. You go to the law firm that my sister works at. They need paper, they need ink. They're looking at that stuff on a regular basis, as should we. We shouldn't be putting ourselves in positions where we need to print 15 fundraising packs and we have no ink. We've all done it. We're not perfect. You're going to do it again, and that's absolutely fine. But this is putting you in the habit to check your supplies and making you forward think to what you need in your business. So with that being said, think about, do you need labels? Do you need ink? Do you need marketing materials? Right? So this is Bring Back My Bar. Did anybody print off Bring Back My Bar flyers? Perfect. Have they been mailed out? Has anybody mailed them out? So there you go. So not necessarily you, because I haven't even printed them and I made myself a note to print them, but using Canva, if you are, to either creating a postcard. And this is the best part I feel like about the new year, right? Is you can look at the past and be like, I can do a new direction now. It's a new year. When in reality, we can do that anytime, but it's just like the mind frame that we go into with a new year. But think about what you want to implement in your business. For me, I started 2022 doing postcards to people that have purchased from me within the last 3 months. It's not super expensive. It's only a postcard stamp, right? So if I want to do those, I need to be thinking about those the month before. So on January 15th, I have create February marketing materials because I need to account for creating it, ordering it, physically getting them, and getting them back out in the mail. So then I have on the 29th, mail postcards. I know it sounds silly, but the reality is we're all busy, right? We're parents, we have jobs, we have, health things going on. We do the job of 5 people. And the reality is none of this is necessarily our main focus. Even Tanya doing this full time, her plate is busy with 3 kids, 3 very, very active kids. And trust me, when I ask her if she wants to go to lunch, she goes, I got to look at my calendar. So I know that she religiously also uses her calendar. And so by putting simple things like this down, you're less likely to overlook them. And it almost makes you feel guilty when you don't complete it. I'm a big checklist person, and I'm like, let's get this checked off. So that is huge. Another thing with budgeting is how many people, when the new catalog releases, are like, I'm getting the scent kit, I'm getting the scent kit, I'm getting the home kit, I'm getting the bars, I'm getting the body, I'm getting the clean. We all get hyped up. We all say we're going to do it. then it comes, and then we don't get it because we financially cannot afford to do it. I know I'm not the only one. Okay, this is why you have to budget, right? Because if you're thinking about it now, it's January. Okay, we can go into our workstations, we can go into our Simply Family group and search what those costs were last year and kind of predict what they're probably going to be this year. And those likely, I do not know. I have no idea. This has not been released in a director's group. I'm assuming that they will be released in February so we can purchase, earn PRV, use as a tax write-off, have samples, make for marketing materials, right? Like there's so many pros to doing it, but we always at the end of the day say, I can't justify spending this. And the reason we can't justify it is because it wasn't properly budgeted. And guess what also falls into the budget category? Scentsy Family Reunion. How many people say every year they're going to go? I do. Normally I don't because my husband races, and that, thank you, Jimmy. But the reality is even if that wasn't a factor, financially, it would stress me out. But if you're not forward thinking about it, okay, that's June. No, it's July. I just lied to you. Thank you. So it's July. Registration typically opens in March. Don't mark any of these dates down. These are hypotheticals right now, as I don't have actual. But the reality is if that's something you want to do and want to go to, that is when you're like, okay, I need to account for probably hotel, food, registration. Awesome. They do have a payment plan for registration. Fantastic. You want to plan for that. Just like World Tour. Who's going to World Tour? I'm going, Kim's going, Stacy's going, everybody on here is going. Guess what? If that was a more expensive cost, we more than likely would not have done it. I'm just speaking freely because those are facts. The likelihood of our team going has been so slim. And the reality is because we are not thinking like business owners. We are not looking at our businesses and saying, okay, what falls under a budget and supplies category? All of that does. And if you're not accounting for it, it comes as a surprise. And nobody likes a surprise bill. I can't be the only one that's like, oh my God, my water bill's due again this month. The trash bill's due again this month. I got to get my license sticker renewed. Those are all a surprise. They shouldn't be, but they are. But these aren't surprises in our business. Scentsy Family Reunion always happens. World Tour is going to be happening always, typically this time of year. And then we have Scentsy Family Reunion. Any questions about budgeting? No? Okay, so obviously, after budgeting, I would highly suggest goals, right? So goals would include reviewing your 2020-2022 PRV, your TWV, your GWV, and adding increases. It doesn't matter the amounts. These are your goals solely. You're not necessarily saying, hey, Jess, this was my 2022, this is my 2023, unless you're looking for somebody to help coach you, hold you accountable, whatever that looks like. Another big area you can be looking at with goals would be reviewing your active frontline. So if you're looking at January and you're like, crap, I didn't have anybody on my team active. That tells you as a leader that you need to be reaching out to those people on your team, figuring out, do they still want this? Do they want to work their business? Are they into this? If not, perfectly fine. Bless, release, rebuild. It is a process. There is nobody on my team that was necessarily with me when I joined 8 years ago. That's never going to change. You're always going to be in a rebuilding stage. But the way that those pains hurt less is if you are constantly recruiting, constantly coaching, constantly connecting with your teams. Sponsoring, huge. We just talked about it. How can you increase that? I'll tell you right now. I tell myself, and I publicly say it, that I am not good at sponsoring. And that is a false statement. We are not good at sponsoring because we don't do it. Does that make sense? We do not consistently do it. I am guilty of it. $15 special comes on, we are all about it, right? Everybody's like, we're going to give some kits away. When in reality, that's not the best bang for their buck. So really, when you're planning your goals for 2020-22 and your 2023, I don't even know what year it is, you should be looking at every time I am the host of my own party, I need to be trying to give away that kit. So that might look like you starting the month and you setting goals and you saying, these are 5 people I would love to add to my team. You have to start somewhere. If you want to grow in this business, specifically financially, you have to grow wide, not down. And what wide means is you have to add to your front line. If, for instance, I did not grow wide and say Kim continued to, that would me just be growing down, which means that it doesn't become sustainable. And now my business is completely in the hands of Kim. We never want to be in that position as consultants. We as leaders should be setting the bar first and foremost with PRV, with shouting out our teams, with showing recognition. And recognition, you guys, costs $0. I am not by any means saying you need to go do this, this, and this for your team, because that is not what Scentsy as a whole has ever said. They've always said, obviously, love your people. And that is what we should be good at. If you want to be good at something that costs $0, it's loving your team by shouting them out. People want to be recognized. It doesn't matter what it's for. It could be because they made a post, they made a sale, they're active, they hit 1,000, they recruited somebody. It doesn't matter. And I'm telling you right now that it might be happening more on like a private setting, but people thrive more in an environment where it's publicly happening. And those are just facts. I'm not telling you this to shame anybody. I will say that it's something that I personally have goals of improving on, because at one point, I feel like all our team did was shout people out, and it slowly just went downhill. So we need to change that dynamic. The other thing that I also look at when goal setting is your VIP groups. How many people are in your VIP groups? If it is less than, we'll say 500, raise your hand. Okay. So, and I'm in the same boat, 100%. I will also tell you to go in and clean up your VIP groups. And here's why. Because by you having 50 other Scentsy consultants in your group, they're not liking your stuff. They're not loving it. They're not commenting. They're not helping you with algorithms. And that's just honesty, right? Like, I hate to say that, but I'm in Jen's group, and I'm sorry, Jen, but I don't always love or like your stuff. And it's not because I don't love you as a person. It's because I just commonly scroll, and we are all guilty of that. Tanya's in my group. She doesn't love all my stuff. But in reality, if you are in another Scentsy person's group, think to yourself that is a privilege, right? Because that is really for their customers. And if you're going to be in their groups and you want to stay in their group, you should be helping with their algorithms. So I've even cleaned mine up. I've only kept a handful of consultants in my group, not for a right or a wrong reason. It's just the way that the dynamics are, really. And I am by all means not saying go on there, but like, Diane, if you want to delete me, my feelings would not be hurt. Jen, if you want to delete me, my feelings would not be hurt. Like, they just wouldn't. And we cannot be hurt if other consultants choose to take you out, because it really is a privilege to be in their groups. Hi, April.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
No worries. We were just talking about VIP groups.
Okay.
But the reality is every single month you should be setting a goal of how you can increase those members. Rather, it is you're at events and you're passing out things to get people in there. Rather, you're on Project Broadcast and you're like, hey, you're buying from me, get in my VIP group. It doesn't matter. And it could look like anything. Maybe you're going to decide to have parties in your VIP group, which is something I am going back to, because I need people in my group. Like, the people that are in my group buy from me. I need more people in my group to do that. Okay. Another big thing that I think we always underestimate as consultants is our workstation. Our workstation is like the holy Bible of our business. It has every transaction, every customer, what they bought, when they bought it, how they bought it, everything. So when you're looking at setting your goals, you should be reviewing your history. So for one, if you're looking at January 23, you need to go look at what you did in January 23. Who hosted, who bought, what were they buying? You know, maybe Kim was buying from me in January 22. And I'm like, oh, remember when you bought those awesome cleaning buckets? Do you want another one? If you don't do the research part of it, it doesn't help build your goals. Does that make sense? Now, my favorite thing with goals has to come action. You can set goals all day long. I want to be a millionaire, but here I am. I want to be skinny wearing a bikini, but here I am. I haven't been on my Peloton in months. So clearly those goals are doing me no justice. So when you look at January specifically, who has already set their PRV goals? Okay. So either in the chat or go ahead and unmute yourself. Go, and I'm going to open up the chat so I can see it. Write what your goals are, like just your PRV goals. $39.48. Very, very strategic numbers, and I already know why. So I'm going to ask both of you. So Kim, what actions do you have to support that? You can just answer yes or no. Do you have parties? Perfect. So like you, and I know you do mystery boxes. You're doing a fundraiser right now, aren't you? So like she has all of these things to contribute to that goal in January. And right now, I know everybody's mindset is it's January, it's after the holidays. I'm here to tell you, people have money. People got money for Christmas. Just because we're broke as parents and human beings for buying all the presents doesn't mean that other people didn't get money. And that's just the reality of it. So you have to shake your mindset. And I'm going to share something with you because I about died when I read this because it's so freaking true. So Jennifer Anderson, anybody watch her? JA, she's my spirit animal. If you don't watch her on YouTube, you're strongly missing out. She posted a question in the Director and Aboves group about what season we're in our business. Do you love your business right now? Do you not love your business, and why? So then she made a comment because there were several people who said, I'm not motivated. I'm not motivated. And she called them out. And I literally started clapping my hands. And here's why. This is what she said. And as a special note to those of you who said you aren't motivated or don't feel into it, just remember that motivation is bullshit. You create your own motivation by taking action and seeing results. Build habits by taking consistent action, and the results you see produce motivation to take more action. So let me ask you guys this question. How many people have ever tried to lose weight before? When you lose 5 pounds, does it motivate you to do more? Okay, so that right there is proof in the pudding, right? Like if you're not doing anything to lose the weight, or doing anything to work your business, there's no results to be had to keep you motivated. So at the end of the day, when you think about motivation, first and foremost, it is not my job, your sponsor's job, or your leader's job to motivate you. That motivation has to come from within 100%. And the way that I personally stay motivated is by setting my goals. And what I mean with setting my goals is setting my financial goals, okay? So if I'm like, all right, Colin, you want to race in February? Sweet. That trip normally costs me $1,000. I need to factor that into what I need to do in PRV because that go-kart money can affect my bill money, right? So no matter what you guys are financially budgeting for, maybe it is medical bills, maybe it is camping trips, maybe it is travel. It has to be your love language. And it should change. It should not be the same thing every single month. It should change because when something is the exact same, that's not exciting. It doesn't keep you going. You're like, cool. I mean, although mine is almost the same every month, but the reality is I'm like, it doesn't have to come out of my 9 to 5, which means I have this money to play X, Y, and Z. So I strongly encourage you because really when we say that this business is there's no ceiling. There is no ceiling. The only people that are constantly capping us are ourselves. And by all means, I am not saying after this conversation and I have lit a fire in you, you are going to jump off and make $1 million tomorrow. If you do, remember your friend. But the reality is what you do in your business today, you will not see results for the next 3 to 6 months. And that's just the truth. That's why working your business consistently is absolutely critical in your business. When you don't want to, when you don't feel good, when you have everything in the world telling you not to work your business, figuring out how to work your business. And I, by all means, 100% support self-care. It's something I am focusing on more in the new year. But the reality is there's a way to do it all. You just have to figure it out. So January, let's talk about January and key things to help with goals. It's double host rewards. I don't even remember last year if there was double host rewards because I feel like, thank you. I was like, I feel like way back in the day there was, and then it went away. Well, guess what? It's back. So that is a huge incentive for people. Who hosted in January 2022? Can you get them to rebook? Who bought Bring Back My Bars in January of last year? Contact them. Yes, they're different bars, but that doesn't matter. A big thing too is you can go into your workstation, even if you're a newer consultant, and you can go to reporting, sales report, product history. Then you can physically type in each bar's name and figure out who has bought these bars. Yes, it is a process. You're putting in 25 different names. I get it. But if it leads you to one $30 sale, it was worth it. It's just that simple. Who bought the Valentine's Day collection last year? Those are people I would be reaching out to. Cleaning buckets. Okay. Some of my friends are on here. They already know I'm in a huge cleaning purge mode. Anybody else cleaning and purging right now? Exactly. So other people are too, which means cleaning buckets are still a huge hit. Mystery boxes. Anybody doing mystery boxes? Anybody have their mystery boxes planned out for the next 6 to 12 months? I do, because guess what? Planning is critical. It allows you to get extras. It allows you to budget. It allows you to pay attention to if something goes into clearance. So maybe take time. You don't want to do all 12 months, don't do them, but maybe do like your first quarter. What are you doing over the next 3 months? That will be huge. Scent of the month, warmer of the month. Again, this is something else that I would be putting in my budget category because this is huge for your business. It really, truly is. It is a tax write-off. You're able to do samples and you're going to be able to experience it and gain PRV. Like this is every single month. I'm like, oh, I forgot I do that. Like there's an extra 100 PRV. I didn't realize was coming. Like I do it every single month. And there's ways to offload that stuff. Like anybody that is sitting on stock right now, you've got to figure out how you can offload it. Like if you're like, I'm not going to be doing events for the next 3 months, why do you need that product then? You don't. So figure out how you can sell it and transition that into PRV in your business. Like I know I won't do it in January. I did it last year. I'll probably do it in February. Who did those winter de-stash mystery bags? I've done them. I've done the summer ones, the spring ones. Huge way. John was just asking earlier, like, what do you do with things that you've put together for the holidays? Bye. Add it to a winter de-stash bag. Like, see ya. Or take the red bow off, put on a pink one, and voila, you got a Valentine's Day present. I mean, there's just different ways. Like, I have buddy buckets that I'm be honest with you, they're gonna stay right where they are. And they're going to chill until next year. And then next year, all I'm going to do is take out the hot cocoa that's probably expired and put in a new one. And guess what? It's done. Now, I understand that some of the things that we may have put together are bigger or you don't have the space. This is where you need to you, me, who. You need to figure out how you can post in compliance in your group to get rid of it if that is the way, if that's the route you choose to go. Another big thing too is those Bring Back My Bar double packs that I posted about. That will be huge for you. There's Bring Back My Bar bingo that people have done. Like when you go into other groups, not just our group, but any Scentsy group you are in, and I encourage this, put in January and see what populates, because there's going to be ideas from 2015 that you're like, yeah, that was a good idea. Oh, I could do that and rechange it into this. I do it all the time. I put it into my own VIP group to be like, what was I doing last January or February? How did I get this PRV? And that's where I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. I do it all the time. New Year's resolution bags. Anybody that has winter wax laying around where you can create a winter 6-pack, that will be huge. Scentsy Club can be a game changer for your business. And I hope that that is on everybody's goal list, because that is PRV that just happens without us having to do anything. Okay. So I could go on and on about February things too, but I feel like I want to skip. So if you guys are okay with that, I feel like I've kind of painted a picture on things that would be actionable for the months. We can go back to it too if you want. But another big thing that I always plan for, and part of my business plan, is my customer happy mail for a couple of reasons. Budgeting is huge. It's something that prevents us from really doing what we want in our business, or we take shortcuts, or we don't end up doing it because we personally run out of funds, or we're like, oh my God, this business is not supposed to be coming out of my pocket. It is not. It is 100% your Scentsy money is for Scentsy. Your home money is for your home. And that's the way that it should be always. So for January, so these get mailed in January, but it is for those who bought for me in December. I could just hug you. And I did a polar bear hug car bar. I'll put in hot cocoa packets and out they go. Guess what? My marketing flyer is done. My car bars ready to roll, because I got them when I was a host, right? So be smart when you're pre-planning and you're a host and nobody wants your kit, no matter anybody that you contacted, 50 people told you no. That is when you use your rewards smart, right? It doesn't matter if it's not until December 2023. If you're thinking ahead and planning ahead, you know that you need X, Y, and Z. So February, I'm doing nothing as sweet as you being my customer. And I'm going to do the Valentine's Day bar. They're going to get one bar, because guess what? Everybody on here is in the Midwest. We got cold temps right now, which means that I can mail wax without it melting. So I'm going to take advantage of that, because really come June, they don't get that type of stuff anymore. We're back to felt samples. There's a big change. March, I'm doing loads of love, simply because when I think of March, I think of spring cleaning. I just do. And so I'm doing dryer discs, and I've already started putting dryer discs into my host rewards. So when you think ahead like this is already mapped out. And again, I am not telling you that you need to do this for your business. This part of my business is what I consider a non-negotiable. So I also encourage you to maybe create a list of 10 things that are absolutely non-negotiable in your business. What are things that you have to do every single month, no matter what, no matter if you're on your deathbed? These are non-negotiables. Just like us having to physically go into the office, there's things that are expected of us every single month. Like I have to do month end every month. That's a non-negotiable. I have to hit 40 sales prospecting every month. That is non-negotiable. So what are the non-negotiables in your business? Mine is going to be customer happy mail, because it really is my love language. And the more that you spoil your customers, the more that they come back to you, or they host for you, or they buy from you when you're like, oh my God, I'm so close to earning this incentive or hitting my sales goal. Like those things go such a long way. And these are not, I'm telling you right now, I won't pay a dime for anything but shipping and the extras I put in there, because I will strategically use host rewards. And that is how you should be working your business too. Postcards, newsletters, we kind of talked about that. If you want to add it to your business, I have lots of notes. Marketing is huge, you guys. This time of year, I feel like we always think about what marketing things we want to put into our business, what things we want to change, whether it's thank you cards, welcome happy mail for our teamies, bring back my bar postcards. I mean, the list goes on. And then, so what I did start doing too, on the back of my calendar are things that I need to do. So like, for instance, things that I am bringing back. So I started 2022 with doing lives every Thursday in my VIP group. They were a hit. And I know not everybody loves doing lives, but they really do make a world of difference. And so I would encourage you to at least try. I am bringing those back into my business. And the way that I am doing them is I have them all planned. So the first Thursday, I'm doing the bring back my bars. The 12th, I don't have planned yet. The 19th, I'm doing game night. So the third Thursday of every month will be 100% game night, which means that what I give away also is going to come from my stock. And it could be, and those things are going to be pre-made. So again, I don't have to think about it. So like bulk sampling, bulk prizes, like whatever you're doing in your business that you could bulk it. Like, I know that sounds insane, but I don't have time after doing game night to put together game happy mail. Like I just don't. So if I could pre-plan it and it be ready to go, it's done. And then I won't forget about it and it won't sit on my desk for 5 weeks. And then the fourth Thursday of every month, I'm always going to do the warmer of the month. So when you strategically plan these things too, you're not like, crap, it's Thursday. What do I need to do? So I'm bringing that back into my business. I'm bringing back my monthly postcards and I'm bringing back my thank you happy mail, all things that I started and did not consistently do. It just, none of us are perfect. It happens, right? Like things happen, things go off the deep end, we get busy. And one of the things that I probably failed at last year was not having plans, not having full plans where I could just execute them. And that's something that I'm changing, because I can look at the next 3 months and say, all right, I need to do this, this, and this. Oh, these are the days that I'm doing it. I'm very busy. My family is busy. What did I put on February? February. February is going to be jam-packed, you guys, with creating stuff for the new catalog. I can't be the only one who gets overwhelmed when it's like, crap, the new catalog's next month. And I need to do a catalog cover, and I need to do these and this and this. It happens. You're not the only one. It doesn't matter how seasoned or how old you are in this business. You will hit a point where you're like, holy crap, this is a lot. I'm there. I've been there. But again, when you plan for it, you're ready to rock and roll. Like I already have on here what day I'm going to do it. And that's just, oh, and that's what I was going to share. I forgot a page. Oh, please. My favorite part, because we don't do it enough. When you guys are doing your calendars for the next 3 months, it is so critical that you focus on self-growth and development. And what I mean is actually showing up for these things. I am so done with excuses. It's not even funny. And that is not pointed at anybody on here. But the reality is they're draining. They're so incredibly discouraging for me as one of your leaders. And it drains me. And I don't like to be drained, you guys. I like to be, let's do this. And the reality is I am only working with people in 2023 that want to work their business, who want to show up. There is a big reason why I released Work It Wednesdays in every single day. Because guess what? When you make plans with your friends, you don't cancel. When you make plans with your husband, you might cancel. When you make plans to go to the races on Saturday, you show up. When you make plans to go for your massage, the dentist, the doctor, you don't cancel, right? Like you just don't. So why do you cancel plans on yourself and for yourself? We do it. We're all guilty of it. But the reality is when you make a promise to yourself, that is the number one promise you should be keeping. So on my calendars, I have all of the Work It Wednesdays. Obviously, I started that, so I need to show up for that. But then I also have Dawn's Rise trainings, which will be the third Tuesday of every month. And there's a big reason why we took from trainings from 4 times a month to 1, because we recognize that 4 Thursdays is a lot, right? Like people are busy. They do have lives. So I'm asking from you 1 Wednesday a month that you show up. And there's going to be times that you can't. You might be sick for real, not just, I'm not showing up because I don't want to. You need to decide in your business where you want to go next year. And nobody is going to take you there but yourself. And nobody is going to push you but yourself. Nobody is going to reach out to you, because guess what? We've been, and I'm speaking for myself and Tanya specifically, so she can yell at me later for this. We've been reaching out for the last year, and we've had very little reach backs. Like I could be hanging off of a cliff right now, and I'm not sure there's anybody there to save me but Tanya, and maybe Kim, and maybe Jen. Maybe, I'm not sure. They might kick me off. I'm not sure. But the reality is we've done so much last year to try and focus on community and culture. And you guys, it was heartbreaking, like heartbreaking, because when I put things on, I clean, I cook, which I don't do often, as many know. I really just buy it from the store. I think of presents. I think of fun things to show you guys that I appreciate you for coming. And then when the 10 yeses go to can't come, I'm like, cool, I'm not doing this anymore, because I'm also taking time away from my business and my family. And guess what's coming first this year? My family and my business before anything. And so if you want these to keep happening, you have to show up. And I'm not talking to anybody specifically. I'm talking in general, but you have to want it. I think Tanya said it in her group earlier. She can't want it more than you do. And that's just the reality. Tanya's had an incredible year. If you want to go on incentives, if you want to make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 paychecks, it's showing up. That's what it is. Because when you're in a room with like-minded individuals, you're inspired, you collaborate, you learn from each other, you hold each other accountable. You're like, okay, all right, Diane, I see you over there doing that. Tell me about it. Show me your ways. And that's the heart of your business. That is what's going to keep you motivated when in reality, the motivation comes from yourself. So those are my biggest things for you. Planning is crucial. And I will tell you that probably in February, maybe the first week in March, I will be doing a Q2 business plan, because the reality is we probably are doing Q1 a little late, honestly, right? That's in like 2 days. So it's a little hard to put all of that together, but everything that I have shared with you tonight should not be a copy and paste. It should not be, well, Jess is doing this, I'm going to do it too. You need to sit down and figure out what you want out of your business next year. And that is going to look different for everybody. It could be, I just want to keep doing this because it's enjoyable for me, or I want to bring back Happy Mail because it's fun for me, or I want to take my business serious for the first time in 10 years. I don't know. It could be different for everybody. But that is huge. And a big thing too is just training. Anybody, I mean, like I started listening to podcasts. I used to be huge in podcasts and books, and that, like, I don't know what I was doing last year, but that just went, woo, not sure. I mean, I guess I started working my real job, and my job actually made me work. I guess it's better. My other job, I didn't work very much. It's a different dynamic now. But the reality is you have to find things that really keep you going and to be the best version of yourself. And that's going to be different for everybody. Like I literally on my calendar put in yoga, because yoga is good for me. It's good for my back. It's good for so many things. And it sounds crazy that you're like, wow, Jess, you plan for everything. I have to, because if I don't, then these things don't happen. Then I'm in December, like, wow, I didn't listen to a podcast, read this year, go to yoga. I didn't do any of those things I set out to do. I don't make resolutions. I set goals for myself. And I mean, this is so corny. It's not even complete, but this is literally how I do it. I put at the end of my binder or my planner, it literally says 2023, and I map it out, like literally like brainstorming sessions. One of them says read 6 books, because I'm not an avid reader, and I know that I will not read 12 books. I just won't. So I'm like, great. I put personal, I put travel. I don't know how many months I've told Kim I want to kayak, but that's legit on here because I want to kayak. I mean, it could be anything. I didn't even start putting Scentsy on here. I have house projects. I have my marriage, right? Jimmy and tomorrow we're going to a racing banquet, and that will be considered date night, because that's just reality. And you know what? It's not good, because someday my kids are going to be old and probably still live with me because they tell us they're never moving out. And that probably will be true. But at some point it will just be me and Jimmy. And I don't want our bubble to be popped, right? Kim knows I live in a bubble. But things have to go into that. All of us here have spouses, significant others, best friends, whatever you need to make time for, that's where your focus needs to be for 2023. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, input? I totally broke a nail in the middle of that.
I think I'm going to go, Jess. I'm in a ton of pain.
Well, feel better.
2 more weeks until the second surgery, so.
Woo. We'll think of you.
Yes. So can you just share all the documents? Because unfortunately, I took no notes.
Oh, yep. Sure can.
And I will see you guys soon. I probably will not be able to make next Saturday because my mother-in-law leaves for Florida.
Okay.
So, and I'll be still in post-op, and I can't drive. So.
Yeah, no worries. No worries at all.
But it was good to see everybody. I am going to go take some pain meds.
Perfect. Have a good night and feel better.
Thanks.